World of Tank Blitzers and future Momrads. I'm Littlefinger here today to share a little more knowledge with you guys. This time I'm going to be talking about the Tier 2 light Russian tank, the T-26. You can see it here in my garage. It's a rather small, fairly nimble, does not have a great top speed, but it does have an excellent gun on it. Let's take a look here at some of the characteristics. Protection there at 10% is fairly weak for the class, but you can see it makes up for it with the maneuverability there at 64%. Hit points at 270 is average for the class, and I'll take a look here in a minute at how it compares to the other Tier 2 lights. But just running down the rest of the stats here: frontal armor at 15, turret armor at 15 millimeters. It does weigh in at about 9.9 tons, and 36 kilometers per hour is not bad, but it's certainly not the fastest in the class. But it makes up for it with those excellent traverse speed and turret rotational speeds there. I chose to play this with the 45 millimeter cannon on it instead of the machine gun. I found that it was more accurate and I was able to do more damage just because it had a higher penetration values, which you can see here at 51, 88, and 23 for your AP, your APCR, and your HE rounds. It does about 55 hit point damage per shot, and the dispersion there at 0.46 is okay for the class, but the aiming time is a little bit high, and you can see that in the gameplay. You do have to be a little bit more patient with this tank. So let's take a look here and see how it compares to the other tanks in its class. So here is the Tier 2 light tanks spreadsheet that I've compiled. You can see we've got 6 tanks here. I've got the T-26 highlighted because that's the one we're reviewing today. You can see there that it does not fare well with the hull or turret armor in comparison to the other tanks in the tier, nor does it fare well as far as the engine and top speed, but it is kind of excels there with the traverse and the turret traverse speeds. But where this gun clearly stands out from the crowd there is on the second on the lower part of the spreadsheet. You can see the penetration values there are way above average, and so are the average damage per shot. Went ahead and marked the rate of fire there at neutral, just because the PZ2 is kind of blowing that out of proportion there with the magazine, the machine gun loader. So anyway, where this gun does fall a little short there is with the 2.3 second aim time. So have to be a little bit more patient. You do have to be exposed a little bit longer in order to get a good shot off. So why don't we jump in and take a look at some gameplay. First game, always starting off with the best. You know me by now. We are on mines, and as I like to do, I like to push up to the middle to try to control this map. But as you can see, I'm looking at my mini map and I'm seeing some guys going left, some guys going right. There is absolutely no purpose for me to push up over this ridge. I have no support, so I am going to sit behind this rock here and just kind of let the game unfold a little bit. I have pretty good protection all around me here, so this is a good safe spot, and just see where my team goes. You can see here I load APCR and miss that shot. Kind of a little bit of the frustration with the dispersion on this Russian gun. It does fit in with what I've been saying about Russian guns quite well. They will do a lot of damage, but they can often be a little on the frustrating side when you're fully aimed in and you totally chunk a shot. So anyway, just staying on this ridge line. I do have a little bit help here, and I'm kind of just staying behind this guy in front of me, you can actually hear a couple of the shots ricocheting off of him. You kind of just using him as my protection. These guys are dropping back, so I decided to push the matter and get up on the hill. But instead of just stopping there in the middle, I want to try to get behind this ridge line to give myself a little bit more protection. You say this guy's now just a one shot. We'll finish him off there. And then that cruiser, he's going to pop out for me. Go ahead and finish him off. We've got 2 guys left. Our strategy somehow paid off quite well. I'm not sure how. So I'm moving in, spotting both these guys. I know that there's a ridge to my right, so I can go ahead and focus on the guy on my left without worrying about getting shot from the guy on the right. This guy hasn't moved all game, even though he is in a super fast tank. So I'm just going to go ahead and push in and finish him off there. And as I do, you can see I get shot from the right by that T-7 carrier. I'm going to go ahead and drop the adrenaline here, just because I know this guy can easily do 100 damage if he had a full magazine loaded on me. Get him tracked and finish him off there. So it turned out to be a pretty straightforward game, but as you can see, I think the map awareness of knowing what my team was doing led me to be in a position to kind of clean up and get most of the damage. So that was a fairly easy mastery in that tank. Game 2, here we are on Fort Despair. You can see I am one of 2 tier 2s on my team. And as we get started, I'm going to call out that we should all go to the left. We've got a lot of fast tanks. And you can see I'm paying attention now to my mini-map and seeing that they are all going right instead. So like I have talked about as far as not being a noob, stay with your team. Regardless if the call is right or wrong, stay as a group. That's kind of a noob thing to do there. They're all sitting up there, all in the same spot. So I'm just going to push around to the side and see what spots up here for me. But I'm being cautious now. We've got at least 2 tanks over here. The BT2 in front of me is going to push and kind of pay the price a little bit here. So again, just being as cautious as possible, making sure I've always got a target lined up, but not pushing too hard that I find more tanks than I'm expecting. So they're at about 40 on the cap. So we got a couple of them sitting up there. As you can see, I'm trying to be as cautious as possible, staying behind as much hard cover. And I'm just going to peek around the edge here. And as soon as I take a shot, I back off, always trying to preserve my hit points. I can't find that guy, so I take a wild shot, just hoping for the best, but he's behind that berm there. So I'm going to push in forward and bounce a shot there, and finally get the kill shot. Take a shot there, and he gets the commander. So you can see I'm not aiming very well or not moving very fast, so have to repair that. And then I'm gonna pull up and take a shot on him and back up. I am not giving him any shots. My teammate takes him out, and we are 3-on-2 at this point. I see that one shot coming around the other side, so I'm going to make sure and get his gun out of the game first, and I expect him to be coming around the corner, and he is, and I take him out. I was not expecting the medium to be there so quickly, and at this point I am just now trying to stay alive as long as possible, hoping that I get some help, trying to use the carcass there of the tank in front of me. I'm able to get about 2 or 3 shots on here before he finishes me off there. Luckily we're now 2-on-1, and they have flanked behind him, and finish him off for the victory. So really, again, at this level, tier 2, it's more about map awareness. than it is about anything else with the game. Knowing when to be cautious and when to be aggressive and not getting yourself in trouble. Alright, here's another game on Copperfield, and again you can see that I am one of 2 tier 2s on the team. The rest are tier 3s. Gonna pay close attention to what the rest of the team does. Push up the hill, and I like to stop about right here just so that my turret is just peeking over the edge. Don't want to give him a huge tank to aim at. So you can see here, this game I am using the machine gun on here, and these guys are showing up mainly as all red. So I'm going to switch over to the APCR. Obviously this is going to be more costly, but hopefully I can do some penetration damage as opposed to just bouncing shots. So I get a few shots in there, and the rest of my team finishes him off. I switch back to AP. That martyr comes out, and I take 2 quick shots in a row there. I got the one, and I wasn't expecting the other one. So at this point in time, with both of those heavy armor tanks in front of me and only having 50 hit points left, I make the decision to go ahead and flank around the map, see if I can't spot any of them, and basically just try to stay alive a little bit longer in the game. I felt like I wasn't being very useful. So now that I've flanked around, I've got some shots on the side of these tanks, whereas I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I'd have stayed where I was in that position. So just gonna take a random shots here, hoping for the best. We are in a 4-on-3 situation right now, and we don't have anyone spotted, so I'm gonna push around cautiously, making sure that I'm using the hard terrain as much as possible. You see here, I'll go behind these pipes, because if I do get spotted, I basically what I want to do is light up the enemy tanks so that my teammates can do the damage. Because again, remember, I'm the low tier here, so we haven't seen anyone pop up. So I'm going to go ahead and just push in a little bit. Get a few good shots on here, but you can see, I mean, I only do about 50 damage there, which I would have done in one shot with the other gun besides this machine gun, which obviously has a much longer reload after I've emptied the magazine. So I've helped spot those guys, and my teammates have helped finish them off. Luckily for us, they've got the cruiser there's AFK and hasn't been playing, I guess, so it worked in our benefit for this game. So I'm just going to keep pushing in to make sure all of my shots count and get as much hit points as I can. And then it's just a matter of finding the last guy. And you can see in this game there's kind of a bit of trash talking, but here we go. You can see just how much red shows up if you don't switch over to that APCR. So that is why I stopped using this gun and decided to go with the single gun. So we'll go ahead and finish him off here and get the W. So when the stats pop up here, you can see I did not lead the team in damage, but I did in experience points because I was helpful in spotting and getting those experience points for spotting the other teammates. Yeah, it's a T-26 for spotting him. So anyway, you can be useful to the team even if you are not dealing damage. that's going to wrap up my review of the T-26 Russian light tank. As always, guys, stay safe out there. Have fun. Enjoy this game. Get educated, not fingered. Little finger out.